Discursive passages. In this module, you will understand discursive passages and answer questions based on them. Simi has read an article about the benefits of playing video games. Now, she has come to her friend, Jeannie, to discuss what she has read.
Hi, Jeannie. How are you?
Hello, Simi. I'm fine. How about you?
I'm good too. I've come here to discuss something very interesting. Today I read an article in a magazine about the benefits of playing video games. According to the article, playing video games boosts our memory and other cognitive abilities. This improvement in our memory helps us feel good about ourselves as we beat our high scores. It also reduces the risk of developing the likes of Alzheimer's and dementia in later life.
Well, Simi, maybe there are advantages of playing video games, but its disadvantages greatly outnumber the advantages.
It has many health repercussions.
Sitting for long hours in one place, moving just your fingers and thumb around cannot do any good to your health.
But video games are beneficial for our mental health as they help us to reduce our stress. While playing a video game, we become so much engaged into it that we forget about our stress and worries. Although this doesn't help you get rid of the reasons of stress, but it aids in preventing the stress reasons from taking over your life.
We can do that by playing any physical game also. I think video games are rather addictive. All we care about is forging ahead to the next level and forget about everything else.
We make ourselves socially isolated.
When our friends or relatives want to spend time with us, we do not attend to them because our mind is in the video game. This form of addiction is just not good.
But you cannot neglect the positive effect that hand-eye coordination can also be developed through playing video games, as they require you to act quickly. By requiring a response to visual stimuli on the screen and having to act accordingly, they sharpen our decision-making skills. Any game we play can help us to improve this skill, as we always face dilemmas and need to make decisions to enhance the in-game experiences. Rather, violent video games produce aggressive children. Games that have a lot of shooting and killing in them increase children's anger and bring out aggressive behavior. I don't mean that playing video games should be stopped completely, but we must know when to stop. We must be able to get up and have a good health and social life. These are far more crucial than a game.
Did you notice how Simi and Jeannie discussed the advantages and disadvantages of playing video games? They discussed video games in their oral conversation. Similarly, we can discuss any particular topic in written form as well. Such texts are called discursive texts. As the name suggests, a discursive text is a piece of writing which discusses an issue, problem, solution, or any topic by using reasons, justifications, and supporting details. It thoroughly investigates a topic by investigating the different perspectives. Discursive texts usually compare or contrast two or more things, present a problem and suggest a solution, or present arguments for or against an action. Let us now understand the features of discursive text. These texts are always written in a formal tone with proper complete sentences and proper expressions. Use of contractions and abbreviations is avoided. It is always recommended that these texts should be written in third-person perspective. Use of first-person phrases such as "in my opinion," "I believe," and "I fully support" should be avoided. Another important feature is the objectivity of these texts. They are written in an unbiased manner with thorough discussion on the major points of argument. These texts always start with a sound introduction that clearly states the topic. The paragraphs in discursive texts are organized in a logical manner. Discursive texts are usually written in two forms: argumentative text, persuasive text. What do you understand by the word argument? It is a reason why we support or oppose any idea or suggestion. So, an argumentative text is a style of writing which presents both sides of a topic, discussing points in favor as well as against the topic. All the points discussed are supported by reasons, facts, examples, or justifications. For example, do you think a mobile phone is a necessity for students? Let us read the following passage about the advantages and disadvantages of mobile phones. Mobile phone for students has always been a topic of debate. A student can improve or spoil his or her life just because of a mobile phone. Some people argue that mobile phones have become a necessity as they help students to clarify their doubts related to academic subjects by referring to the internet on phones. They act as advisors for students, but many people do not agree to this, as it has been often observed that children spend sleepless nights because most of their time is consumed in playing games and chatting with their friends on their phones. They do not devote enough time to their studies, and this ultimately affects their academic performance. This is an argumentative passage, as it discusses both advantages and disadvantages of using mobile phones for students. Here, the author has supported all arguments with reasons and justifications. Now let's discuss persuasive texts. What do you understand by the word persuasive? It has been derived from the root word persuade, which means to make someone do or believe something by giving a good reason for it. So, a persuasive text is a style of writing where the author's personal opinion about a topic is written in an indirect way. The opinions are always supported by suitable reasons, facts, examples, or justifications. Let us read a passage. In today's world, technology is considered to be a boon by people. It saves time and makes their lives easier by minimizing the efforts to be put in a particular task. This can be considered a relief for housewives. Now, due to modern appliances like washing machines, electric ovens, dishwashing machines, and vacuum cleaners, it does not take them whole days for doing household chores. Their physical workload has been greatly reduced and has given them a lot of free time. But what do they do with all this free time? Mostly this time is spent on TV or on social media. These products of technologies greatly distract people from self-development, culture, physical activities. They also minimize their opportunities of live communication because people can happily go days or even years without meeting each other because we have everything online. The social media has changed the very meaning of social. Also, new technological products are manufactured every day all over the world. These are claimed to be better and more effective than the existing ones. Commercials and advertisements persuade individuals to purchase these technological novelties, which are often much costlier. Despite the lack of financial sources or the absence of any real need, people crave for these new appliances and gadgets. They sometimes become so crazy to have them that they do not hesitate even from borrowing money, taking loans, or selling their belongings for sufficient finances. On the other hand, the inability to buy new gadgets can cause severe stress. Thus, technology has driven people to a situation where they have completely lost their ability to differentiate between right and wrong. People should minimize their dependence on technology and save themselves from changing the real meanings of their lives. This is a persuasive text because the author is trying to persuade the readers to believe that we should not depend too much on technology for all our work. statements have been provided highlighting the negative aspects to technological dependence. Now, let's discuss discursive passages from examination point of view. How do you answer the comprehension questions based on a discursive passage? Let us understand this through a sample discursive passage. Habit of idleness, once firmly fixed, cannot be suddenly thrown off. The man who has wasted the precious hours of life's seed time finds that he cannot really harvest in life's autumn. Lost wealth may be replaced by industry, lost knowledge by study, lost health by temperance or medicine, but lost time is gone forever. In the long list of excuses for the neglect of duty, there is none which drops oftener from men's lips and which is founded more on self-delusion than the want of leisure. People are always cheating themselves with the idea that they would do this or that desirable thing if only they had time. It is thus that the lazy and the selfish excuse themselves from the thousands of things which conscience dictates to be done. Remember that the men who have done the most for their own and for general good are not the wealthy, leisurely people who have abundance of time to themselves and nothing to do. They are the men who are in ceaseless activity from January to December. You may rely on them in their fullest season with 10 times more assurance than on the idle men. Let us now read the questions to be answered. What is peculiar about the habit of idleness? How do people often cheat themselves? What kind of people have done the most for general good? Who can one rely on with more assurance? To answer the questions, first we need to understand the overview of this passage. This can be done by skimming the passage. While skimming, we read a text quickly without reading everything with the same attention. We generally read the first and the last sentence of the text to gather its main idea and read the passage by noticing the content words. Let's skim the passage now. After skimming, we get an overview that this passage tells about the deep-rooted effects of the habit of idleness on a person's life. But how do we answer the questions based on this passage? For this, we need to scan the passage. Scanning helps us to identify a specific piece of information as required in the question. While scanning, we read a text quickly with specific aims and look for keywords. Now the first question is, what is peculiar about the habit of idleness? What are the key words in this question? They are peculiar and habit of idleness. Peculiar means special or different. Let us look for these keywords in the passage. We cannot find these words anywhere in the passage, but a special characteristic of the habit of idleness is discussed in the first sentence itself. Habit of idleness, once firmly fixed, cannot be suddenly thrown off. This gives us the required answer. What is peculiar about the habit of idleness? If once the habit of idleness gets firmly fixed in a person's life, it cannot be suddenly thrown off. This fact is peculiar about the habit of idleness. Now let's move on to the second question. How do people often cheat themselves? Here the keywords are people and cheat. Do we find any related words or sentences in the passage? Yes, people are always cheating themselves with the idea that they would do this or that desirable thing if only they had time. This sentence helps us to frame our answer. How do people often cheat themselves? People often cheat themselves with the idea that if only they had time, they would do this thing or that thing. But in reality, they do not do anything only because of their idleness. The third question is, what kind of people have done the most for general good? Can you identify the keywords in this question? They are general good. Are these words directly given anywhere in the passage? Yes. Remember that the men who have done the most for their own and for general good are not the wealthy, leisurely people who have abundance of time to themselves and nothing to do. They are the men who are in ceaseless activity from January to December. We can easily answer the question with the help of this sentence. What kind of people have done the most for general good? The people who have done the most for general good are the ones who are engaged in some fruitful activity for most of the time. The last question is, who can one rely on with more assurance? What are the keywords in this question? Rely and assurance are the keywords in this question. Let's look for these words in the passage and read the surrounding text to check if it provides relevant information. They are the men who are in ceaseless activity from January to December. You may rely on them in their fullest season with 10 times more assurance than on the idle men. So we can answer the given question using this sentence. Who can one rely on with more assurance? One can rely on the people with assurance who are always engaged in ceaseless activity round the year. Now, can you tell the steps we have followed to comprehend the passage and answer the questions based on it? 1. Skim the passage to understand its overview or main idea. 2. Read the questions and identify the keywords. 3. Scan the text for these keywords. Then, read the surrounding text to check if it provides relevant information. 4. Now answer the questions based on your understanding. Let's practice. Read the passage and answer the questions that follow. Let's recap. A discursive text is a piece of writing which discusses any topic by using reasons, justifications, and supporting details. Formal tone, third-person perspective, and objectivity are some features of discursive texts. Argumentative and persuasive texts are the common forms of discursive texts. An argumentative text is a style of writing which presents both sides of a topic, discussing points in favor as well as against the topic. A persuasive text is a style of writing where the author's personal opinion about a topic is written in an indirect way. To answer the questions based on a text, we skim the passage to understand its overview or main idea, read the questions and identify the keywords, scan the text for these keywords, then we read the surrounding text to check if it provides relevant information. Finally, answer the questions based on our understanding.